speaker. Take on first.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, did you watch yesterday's match?
I was busy a student and there was party actually in the evening. I had to spend 2 hours there, so really couldn't.
They got fired.
New Zealand, right?
Yeah,
They won. And they won, right? New Zealand won.
yeah.
Yeah. I think I was at the party when I asked somebody and they said 8 wickets were down and more than 100 runs were needed in 9 overs. I think.
Yeah.
That's what 200.
Miller got 100 though.
Miller got 100, but he could not win the match.
Yeah.
Miller got 100, but he could not win the match for his country. Okay, now you will hear me better, I think.
Sir, can you explain, sir, please, this sentence, sir, we should be nicer to senior. In this sentence, there is no comparison. I didn't understand, sir, this.
Good question, Kiran, good question. This is why I value this. This class is good because you can ask a question like this, and there will be a beautiful answer, an answer that will help you open your mind. Hey, Lalin.
Sir.
Renu has a question. Can you repeat your question?
Sir, we should be nicer to senior. This is Siddhanka wrote. Yeah, this is this sentence. That's why I.
Now think about it. I come to your house and you serve me chicken curry. And I say, you know what? It should be a little hotter. It should be a little hotter. By the way, hot means not only temperature hot, guys. Hot means chili hot as well, okay? So when I'm saying, you know what? Suppose you served me kheer, okay, Renu? You served me kheer. I said the kheer should be a little sweeter. It should be a little sweeter. What am I saying? There should be more sugar to it than there is already. It should be sweeter. This chicken curry should be a little hotter. Now you understand the comparison?
Yes, sir.
The present and what I'm expecting.
Yes, sir.
So you should be nicer to your seniors. It means whatever your behavior is now is not enough. You should be nicer, more nice to your seniors. Got it?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you understand that, Lalin, the question and the explanation, Lalin?
Can you please repeat?
Did you understand the question Renu asked? Did you understand? Hello,
No,
Adi.
sir. I forget the question, so I understand the answer what you are giving, but I cannot understand. I did not listen the question.
You did not listen to the question. You did not hear the question. You did not
hear the question.
Okay. The question was, you should be nicer to your seniors. So why is the word nicer here? Where is the comparison? Why are we using nicer? You should be nicer to your... Papa shouted, you should be nicer to your sister, to your elder sister.
Should be, it
You
means
should be nicer to your elder sister. Anshu, did you understand? Lalin? No?
no, I not understand. Nicer, just I just remember the ER.
मुझे सिर्फ आप लोगों से पूछना है। रेनू, निशात, गणपत, अदीब, अंशु अभी नहीं है। आप जब भी ललिन को बोलते हुए सुनते हैं, आपको महसूस होता है ना कि आपसे ज्यादा बोल देते हैं इंग्लिश वो? ऐसा तो महसूस
Yeah.
करते होंगे आप।
Yeah.
लेकिन लेकिन जो बातें हम लोगों की हुई अभी, वो आप समझ रहे हैं, मैं समझ रहा हूं, ठीक है। ललिन को थोड़ी मुश्किल हो रही है उसको ओवरऑल समझने में। अब आप बताइए ऐसा क्यों? जो इंसान आपके सामने बेहतर लग रहा है आपको इंग्लिश के मामले में, वो एक्चुअली वो चीज क्यों नहीं समझ पा रहा जो आप समझ पा रहे हैं? क्योंकि ये ऐसे ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, ये ऐसे ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है। मेरे पास एक सजेशन है सिर्फ। ललिन, आप समय बताइए इस जगह पे, देखिए कैसी चीजें बदल जाए। और
Yes,
मेरे,
sir.
मैं आपको एक और बात बताना चाहूंगा।
गुड इवनिंग सर।
जो सना, आप जिस तरह के इंसान है ना, आप समझदार इंटेलिजेंट इंसान हैं, लेकिन अभी आप जो भी
हेलो
कंक्लूड
सर।
है ना कि आपकी ये प्रॉब्लम है, उसका ये सोल्यूशन है, वो सब आपको उस मोमेंट में सही लगेंगी। जैसे एक जंगल में खोया इंसान कभी सोचता है, इधर रास्ता है, शायद इधर निकल जाऊंगा मैं। फिर थोड़ी देर उधर दौड़ने के बाद कहता है यार नहीं हुआ। फिर वो कहता है ये वाला रास्ता पक्का जाता होगा, मन में उसके आता है यही दिक्कत है, यही रास्ता जाएगा मुझे लेके रोड तक। फिर वहां जाता है, फिर वहां ही फंस जाता है। और ऐसा करते वो बहुत बार करता है, राइट। अभी आप उस जंगल में हो ललन, और ऐसे आपको कई रास्ते दिखेंगे, कई गलतियां दिखेंगी, जो आपको लगेगा ये मेरा प्रॉब्लम है। लेकिन एक्चुअल में आपका प्रॉब्लम क्या है वो मुझे पता है। एंड दैट इज you haven't had the opportunity to learn things. You know the words, but you don't know how the words come together in a meaningful way in English.
Yes,
If,
sir.
if I am familiar with words of English, I can put them together in the sentence. But I'm not sure whether they should be in a certain order or in a certain form.
Hmm.
That's the problem.
Yes, sir.
So slowly and slowly, I'm going to train your mind to use the right forms and to use the right order. To be honest, the training has already started.
Hmm.
This conversation that I'm having with you is part of the training. Renu, this conversation I'm having with all of you is part of the training. One thing. Why? Because I'm speaking English, I am
Yes.
making correct sentences, I am putting words in the right order, and you are listening to me. You are connected with me. So it is all being registered by your brain. Your brain is registering all this, and we are making layer after layer, layer after layer, layer after layer. An atom is very, very small, so small that we cannot see it. But when those atoms come together in big numbers, then you see big things like stars and planets, right? Similarly, this listening exposure, this conversation that you have is like that thin layer, which means nothing, one layer. But when you have layer after layer, layer after layer, layer after layer, then it becomes so thick, so thick, so strong. This is what any teacher can do for you. Why do you guys want a teacher who speaks English if you want to learn English? Why do you want a teacher who speaks German if you want to learn German? Why do you want a teacher who speaks French if you want to learn French? Would you learn French from a teacher who doesn't speak French? Probably not.
No, sir.
Even though he explains all the rules to you about French grammar in your mother tongue, you will not benefit from him because the teacher himself doesn't speak French. You will never get any exposure. So this conversation that I have with my students is important, especially when you are somebody like Shubhankar, when you are somebody like Renu, when you are somebody like Nishat, then it matters so much because you guys listen, look at your faces, look at Nishat's face, look at Renu, look at Shubhankar, look at yourself. You guys are doing what? You are using the headphones to listen to my voice. It's in English. I am using English words in a certain way. This is a teacher's voice. I'm not just a speaker of English. I'm speaking English with one agenda. And that, what is that agenda, guys? Or one agendum? Somebody will say, अरे सर ने गलत इंग्लिश बोल दी. बहुत लोग बेवकूफ हैं. उनको नहीं पता कि बातचीत में कौन सी बात का वैल्यू है, कौन सी बात का नहीं. किसी को सिखा दिया किसी ने, एजेंडा प्लूरल है, सिंगुलर एजेंडम होता है, और मैंने बोल दिया आई हैव ओनली वन एजेंडा. ठीक है, बोलेंगे देखो गलत इंग्लिश बोल दी. ठीक है, वन एजेंडा बोल दिया, एजेंडा प्लूरल होता है. ऐसे लोग को मैं ये वाली फिंगर दिखाता हूं अपनी. ठीक है,
Middle finger.
हाँ, ओके. क्योंकि क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि उनका काम क्या होता है, वो किसी की मदद नहीं कर सकते. So guys, I told you, I said one agenda, and then I also explained that yes, because this is how colloquially people use the word agenda. They say, I have only one agenda, a single point agenda I have. What is that? To help my students. I come here online not to show how much English I know. Okay? I come here with just one thing on my mind, that there are people here, they want to learn from me. Okay? So, Lalin, just
Yes,
stay
sir.
here. Stay here. Listen to what I'm saying. Be connected with me all the time. Do not ignore one single word I say in English here in the class. For as long as you are here in this class, be fully focused on what I am saying, what I'm doing. That's it. I will never ask you to do anything more. Be connected with me. Don't let go of anything I say. It means सब कुछ समझ जाइए जो मैं बोल रहा हूं? नहीं. समझना एक कॉन्शियस डिसीजन नहीं होता है. आप जानबूझ के नहीं समझते या जानबूझ के नहीं समझते. समझना या ना समझना आपके हाथ में नहीं है. एक चीज आपके हाथ में है. बताइए कौन सी चीज?
Focus.
सुनना सर.
फोकस्ड होना, कनेक्टेड होना आपके हाथ में है. कितना समझेंगे, कितना नहीं समझेंगे, आप ये कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते. वो आपके हाथ में नहीं है. इसलिए उस बारे में बात नहीं करनी है कि आप कितना समझ रहे हैं, कितना नहीं समझ रहे हैं. बात ये करनी है, प्लीज बी फोकस्ड. एंड आप इसके मैजिकल इफेक्ट्स देखेंगे within a couple of months, 3-4 months. Remember, Renu, when you started, what kind of sentences you formed, and now when you speak, how your words come out of your mouth? Have you realized that there is a better sequence of those words? शब्द अपने आप पिरो जाते हैं ऐसे जैसे होने चाहिए कुछ हद तक.
Yes, sir.
ये कैसे हुआ?
Listening, more listening. When you
Yes.
speak
उसके
in
पहले आप
class.
क्या कर रहे थे रेनू? ट्रांसलेशन करते. ये हिंदी है तो ये ऐसे इंग्लिश. मैंने उसको कट ऑफ करा और कहा फोकस ऑन द वे आई टॉक, लिसन टू मी, एंड द टेक्स्ट आई हैव गिवन यू, द बुक्स, द ऑडियो फाइल्स, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग. ये क्या कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं? एक ट्रांसपेरेंट लेयर होता है, इतना पतला कि ट्रांसपेरेंट है, लेकिन अगर उस ट्रांसपेरेंट लेयर को बहुत बार एक दूसरे पर रखा जाए तो उसके आर पार नहीं दिखता, लेकिन फर्स्ट टाइम में वो ट्रांसपेरेंट होता है. तो when you listen to me or somebody speaking like me once, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. आपको लगता क्या हुआ? कुछ तो नहीं हुआ. Okay, but वो layer after layer, layer after layer, layer after layer, layer after layer, and then boom, something changes. You start to realize things are changing. Even Nishat can realize and feel that she doesn't feel about English like earlier. She feels different. Things make more sense. As simple as that. मैंने सिर्फ इतनी बात कही थी ललिन कि मैं जो एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूं वो थोड़ा मुश्किल हो रहा है आपको समझने में। आपने कहा हाँ, समझ नहीं आ रहा। बहुत सारा चीज आप समझा रहे हो, पता नहीं चला किस बारे में बात कर रहे हो। क्यों? जबकि आप इंग्लिश बोलते हो, सबको फीलिंग आती है ये लड़का तो अच्छा इंग्लिश बोल लेता है। मुझे पता है आपकी प्रॉब्लम एंड आपकी स्ट्रेंथ।
I know, sir, what is my
हाँ
problem and
हाँ, तो
where I
प्रॉब्लम
am
जो है
standing.
उसको
So,
करेक्ट करने के लिए what we need to do is, if you noticed, Lalin, did I try to speak fast at all?
no, sir, no, sir.
I want all my students to have this patience when they're talking. Try and speak slowly. It's all right. Take your time. Think about which words you need next. Why? What do you want to convey? What is your message? Which word will help you convey that message? That's all. Hindi is a different language. You cannot translate literally every word of Hindi into any other language. You can't do that because languages are independent of each other. English language doesn't have as many words as Hindi. Hindi doesn't have as many words as Japanese. Japanese doesn't have as many words as Chinese. What does it mean? It means the number is not the same, different. It means you do not have translation for each word. It means ideas need to be expressed in another language, not the words. Who will decide wonderful मतलब बहुत बढ़िया, wonderful मतलब झकास, wonderful मतलब शानदार? कौन डिसाइड करेगा तीनों में से कौन सा? Who will decide? Can any human decide it? Wonderful मतलब बहुत बढ़िया, wonderful मतलब शानदार, wonderful मतलब झकास, कि इसमें से एक या तीनों? Who will decide?
No one is decided,
No
but
one can decide. It
no
is
one can.
impossible. Nobody can decide. देखा, आपने कुछ बोला, मैंने कुछ बोला। अगर आप कनेक्टेड हैं तो आपका दिमाग इसको गौर करेगा। आज करे, कल करे, परसों करे, थोड़ा थोड़ा रोज दिन करे, करेगा। और उसके बाद
Yeah,
आपके
no
मुंह से
one can decide it.
उसके बाद आपके मुंह से भी यही निकलेगा। तो गाइस, वंडरफुल मतलब एक वंडरफुल शॉट इंग्लिश में किसी ने कहा, दूसरे तरफ किसी ने कहा झक्का शॉट मारा है विराट कोहली ने, दूसरे आदमी ने कहा क्या शानदार शॉट मारा विराट कोहली ने। क्या अलग अलग शॉट थे? एक ही शॉट है वो? अलग अलग चैनल, एक चैनल पे किसने झक्कास बोला, किसने शानदार बोला, वंडरफुल बोला। मुझे बताइए क्या अलग अलग चीजें हो गई? नहीं। तो आप कभी भी वर्ड्स के बदले वर्ड्स नहीं समझते, आइडियाज समझते हैं कि एक वर्ड कौन सा आइडिया एक्सप्रेस करता है। वंडरफुल मीन्स समथिंग इज वेरी वेरी गुड, so good that you can't even believe it is true. Wonderful. It fills you with wonder. It's so good. Your mouth goes like, wow, wonderful. Okay. Sneha means ma'am is saying, Sneha ma'am is saying today she will not attend the class because she is busy. Okay, ma'am. And Anshu, are you all right? Anshu seems to be lying in bed. Where? In hostel or somewhere else? Anshu, are you all right? Holi is close. You can't fall sick, Anshu. Holi is around. It's a very bad time to fall sick around Holi or before Holi. Holi comes once a year. Yeah. Anshu has internet issues. So guys, we have already
Sleep
started.
on the train, sir.
She's on the train, right?
Yes, it's coming to Bihar Sharif.
She's coming to Bihar State. That's why you're so happy, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They are childhood friends, actually, school friends. That's why I joke about them. Okay. Number 4. Yesterday, yeah, we did this. So what do you remember from yesterday? If you remember anything, you can tell me about London and Paris and the comparison. You can tell me anything you remember.
Paris is more better than London.
You are using more and wetter, which
Sorry,
is
better than London. Paris is better
wetter.
than
Paris is wetter than London. That's right. And
Um,
Anshu,
London is bigger than Paris.
come again, Renu.
London is bigger than Paris.
London is bigger than Paris, yes.
And
Yeah, and
in Paris, metro and
Paris is
Paris
wetter than London.
Right. You can
Paris.
talk about all the things, the metro, the buildings, the weather, the people, anything.
England, sorry, London is
In London,
hotter
metro
than
is
Paris. No, Paris is hotter than England.
Paris is hotter than London.
Than London, yes, sir. London, not England.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay, good. And I'm going to tell you something. You know, London is only 50 meters from the sea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
London is only 50 meters from the sea, and Paris is 250 meters from the sea.
It means use the comparative adjective, guys.
Okay. Paris is more.
London is nearer the sea. London is
Near
Nearer the
the
sea.
this.
nearer the sea. London is
Near the
Nearer the sea.
nearer the
Than
sea
near
nearer
the
the
sea.
sea.
than
Paris.
Paris. London
Yeah.
is nearer the sea. How many of you have understood this sentence? London is nearer the sea. Adib beta, you understand
Near
this?
the sea.
London is nearer the sea. Okay, Nishad? It means Paris is further from the sea. Paris is further
Paris is further from the sea
Further.
than London.
London. London is
Hmm.
only 50 meters from the sea, but
Hmm.
Paris is 250 meters or 200 kilometers. Sorry, kilometers. I'm sorry. I'm saying meter, okay? London is only 50 kilometers from the sea, but Paris is 200 kilometers from the sea. So clearly, London is nearer the sea. Everybody agrees.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What about the buildings? Do you remember from yesterday?
Well, buildings in London are more beautiful than Paris.
Okay. Again, this is just an opinion. Somebody believes, somebody thinks. Okay. Yesterday we talked about opinions and facts. Remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yellow is a color. Is an opinion or is a fact?
It's
It's a
fact.
fact.
Yellow is a beautiful color. That is,
Fact.
That is
Opinion.
an
if you remove the word
opinion.
from it, then it becomes a fact. Yellow is a color. But when you say yellow is a beautiful color, then it is an opinion. And if you drop beautiful and you say yellow is a dirty color, again it is an
opinion.
Opinion.
We can understand this like it's your opinion, it's not my opinion. The yellow color is beautiful.
Exactly. Humans are not immortal. Humans are not immortal.
It's
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
Immortal means
Humans are not immortal.
Immortal means, sir?
Immortal.
What is the meaning of immortal?
Immortal means something that
mm,
never dies. Something that never dies is immortal.
Marega.
Immortal.
It's not a, then it's not a fact.
Humans are immortal. It's not a fact. And humans are not immortal. That's a fact. Okay?
That's
Fact. Okay,
That's
it's
a
a
fact, sir.
humans are not immortal, right?
Yeah.
This is not a this is a fact. Humans are not immortal is a fact.
Fact.
Humans die when God wants them to die.
No, it's
It's
an
an
opinion.
opinion.
It's an opinion. It's not a fact.
Human say die, it's a fact. But
Humans
as per the
die when God wants them to die.
Fact. It's a fact.
It's an opinion.
it's
How is it a fact?
opinion.
How is it a fact? How is it a fact? A fact is verifiable.
Cannot understand. We cannot verify the God.
Yeah,
Don't have a proof.
yes. Fact is verifiable. For example, humans are not immortal is a fact, Adib. But humans die because God wants them to die is an opinion. People believe that. People
Believe that.
believe
that.
when you believe
No.
something, it is an opinion or it is a fact.
It's an
It's
opinion.
a fact. Opinion.
It's
An
an
opinion.
When you believe something, it is an opinion. I said, my mother is a beautiful woman.
It's opinion, sir.
It's an opinion.
It's opinion.
My mother is a woman.
It's a
It's a
fact.
fact.
It's a
It's
fact.
a fact.
Fact. It's a
So from that perspective, you need to understand. Yesterday, I asked this question as well, that this world is running because of God. This is an
Opinion.
Opinion.
This is an opinion.
An opinion is something that you cannot debate. You can debate, you can discuss, but a fact is not something you need to debate. For example, I am older than Shubhankar.
It's fact.
Yeah, it's a fact.
It's a fact. The earth is bigger than the moon.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. Right? But when I say something that cannot be verified, a group of people agree with it, then you will call it an
Opinion.
opinion. An opinion is something that is not acceptable to people across identities. Like I said, water is liquid.
It's fact.
Yeah, it's a fact.
fact. It's a fact.
These are facts. But anything you say which some people disagree with, but they cannot prove either this or that, that is called
Opinion.
opinion. So, in this world, there are people of different faiths. Truth, a fact or opinion. There are people of different faiths.
Fact.
It's
Fact.
a fact.
It's a fact.
Fact.
It's a
Yeah, it's a fact.
right? Those people disagree with each other's religions and faiths, right? Faith A disagrees with faith B. Faith B disagrees with faith A and faith C. Faith C disagrees with faith A, B, and D. Understand that? So whatever they say is all
Opinion.
Opinion.
because whether you are from America or India or South Africa, you will all say that ice is the solid form of water.
Yeah, it's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah,
No, your identity will not ask you to disagree with anybody. It doesn't matter what your identity is. Whether you are from Asia, you are from Europe, you are from Africa, you are from America, you are a man, you are a woman, you are a third gender person. It doesn't matter who you are. You will all say that ice is the solid form of water. And that's why it is a fact. But when your identity, your individuality impacts what you're saying, influences what you're saying, then that is not a fact. That is an opinion. Mr. ABC is a politician. Take a name, Mr. Trump, Mr. Modi, Mr. Xi Jinping is a politician, is a leader. Okay, that's a fact. Mr. Modi, Mr. Xi Jinping, Mr. Trump is an honest politician, is
An
It's an
Is-
opinion.
opinion.
Opinion, sir.
an opinion.
Opinion.
Mr. Trump, Mr. Modi, Xi Jinping are dishonest politicians. Again,
It's opinion.
It's an opinion.
opinions. Okay? So in this world, sensible people understand how facts and opinions are different from each other. Somebody who calls facts opinions is not very smart, and somebody calls opinions facts, that person is not very smart. Because you need to know when something can be described as fact and something can be described as opinions. So here, whenever the person expresses opinion, says, I think,
I think.
okay, remember, when you express an opinion, for example, you don't know, you have never seen my wife, okay? Then you will say, I think your wife is your age. I think your wife is older than you. I think your wife is younger than you. Now, these are your assumptions. These are your assumptions. What is assumption?
Assumptions.
A guess.
Assume.
Anuman.
Guess.
Guess, Anuman.
Yes.
A guess.
Gas. Assume करना.
Assume. When you assume something, it's your assumption. Okay. So when you don't know something for sure, but you are making a comment, what do you think? Is it a good idea to put I think? So that
Yes,
people
sir.
know that you are making an assumption.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
assuming the fact.
Mm.
Okay. So there are some factual differences between London and Paris, and there are some opinions. People, different people have different opinions where, things are different. For example, some people think that the buildings in Paris are more beautiful,
Are beautiful.
more beautiful than the
More
buildings in London.
The building.
Some people believe that people in Paris are nicer. Some people believe that the people in Paris are nicer.
Nicer.
Also,
Yeah.
then
But
younger people.
here, if somebody says, I think London is hotter, warmer, wetter, kuch bhi, so that person doesn't know, he is sharing his guess. He is telling you his guess, his assumption. I think sir is sick. Again, the person is making an assumption.
Assumption.
Okay, everybody? Shall we move on from facts, differences, assumptions, and opinions and comparative adjectives? समझ में आ गया? Let's see. Listen to Rob, an Englishman who lives and works in Paris. Who is this man? He is Rob.
An Englishman.
Yeah, he is an Englishman. It means he's from,
England.
but he lives and works in
Paris.
Paris. So listen to him and complete the sentences, everybody. I'll put this in the group. Wait, why should I not take the whole photo of Rob so that you guys know Rob a little better? I'm going to put this in the group. So 9.4.
Tape script 9.4.
Well, I like both London and Paris, but they're very different cities. Take transport, for example. The metro
is cheaper and easier to use than the underground. London and Paris, but they're very different cities.
9.4.
Well, I like both London and Paris, but they're very different cities. Take transport, for example. The metro is cheaper and easier to use than the underground. And the weather, well, Paris is certainly hotter than London. And Paris, in fact, is wetter than London. But in London, there are more wet days. What about the buildings? Well, people say that the architecture in Paris is more beautiful, but the buildings in London are more interesting. And living in the two cities, well, life is faster in London. And the people? Londoners are generally more polite than Parisians. People in London work harder and they earn more. In Paris, having a good time is more important.
Okay. Have you completed the sentences? Or you couldn't?
No, sir.
Well, I can play it one more time if you want.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can you play one more time?
Okay, so please, guys, get your pencil ready and complete the sentences. Don't write everything, just write the words necessary. Okay?
Tape script 9.4.
Well, I like both London and Paris, but they're very different cities. Take transport, for example. The metro is cheaper and easier to use than the underground. And the weather, well, Paris is certainly hotter than London. And Paris, in fact, is wetter than London. But in London, there are more wet days. What about the buildings? Well, people say that the architecture in Paris is more beautiful, but the buildings in London are more interesting. And living in the two cities, well, life is faster in London. And the people? Londoners are generally more polite than Parisians. People in London work harder and they earn more. In Paris, having a good time is more important.
I hope you guys have finished. Give me a thumbs up if you have. And if you haven't, give me a thumbs down so that I can decide whether I need to play one
Please,
more.
sir, one more time, sir, please.
Okay. Okay, Shvankar, no problems. I'm ready to play it once more.
Tape script 9.4.
Please.
Well, I like both London and Paris, but they're very different cities. Take transport, for example. The metro is cheaper and easier to use than the underground. And the weather, well, Paris is certainly hotter than London. And Paris, in fact, is wetter than London. But in London, there are more wet days. What about the buildings? Well, people say that the architecture in Paris is more beautiful, but the buildings in London are more interesting. And living in the two cities, well, life is faster in London. And the people? Londoners are generally more polite than Parisians. People in London work harder and they earn more. In Paris, having a good time is more important.
Tape script 9.
So let's see. Number one, what did you learn? The metro is cheaper and easier to use than the underground. 2, Paris is certainly
Hotter than
Hotter
London.
than
hotter than London.
Mm.
3, Paris, in fact, is
wetter than
Better.
wetter than London.
Wetter than London.
But in London, there are
There are wetter, more. They are
They're
wetter,
more better.
wetter,
more wet days.
more wet.
More wet
More
days.
better.
more wet.
Paris,
more
in
wet.
fact,
Yeah.
is wetter than London. But in London, there are more wet days.
More wet days.
4, the
The
architecture in Paris is
More beautiful.
More beautiful.
More beautiful.
architecture in Paris is more beautiful. But the buildings in London are
More
More
interesting.
interested.
Interesting.
more interesting. 5, life is
Faster.
Life is
More like
faster
faster.
life is faster in London.
in London.
6, Londoners are generally
More
More
polite
beautiful.
than
More polite.
More politely.
Londoners are generally more polite than Parisians.
Than Persian.
7,
Persian.
people in London work
hard.
Work harder. More hard. Work
Harder.
harder. And they earn more.
They are
More.
More
helpful.
money.
earn more money, right? In Paris, having a good time is
More important.
More
important.
important.
more important.
4.
Well, I like both London and Paris.
Repeat. Well, I like both London and Paris.
Both. I like both London and Paris.
Well, I like both London and Paris.
Well, I like both London and Paris.
Well, I like both Rima and Seema.
Well, I like both Rima and Shima.
London and Paris.
That's the problem.
But they're very different cities.
But they are very different cities.
But they are
But
very
they are
different cities.
Very different cities.
But they are very
They are
different
very
cities.
But they are very different cities.
Cities.
They're very different cities. London and Paris are different cities.
Take transport, for example.
Take transport, for example. If you want to
Take
compare how they're different, take transport, for
transport,
example.
for example.
The metro is cheaper and easier to use than the underground.
The metro is cheaper and easier to use than the underground. Comparison हो रहा है ना?
Yes, sir.
अंडरग्राउंड से सस्ता है और ज्यादा आसान है यूज करने में मेट्रो द मेट्रो इज चीपर एंड इजियर टू यूज देन द अंडरग्राउंड
And the weather, well,
and the weather well and the weather well
Paris is certainly hotter than London.
Paris is
It
certainly
is certainly hotter than London.
no doubt Paris is certainly hotter than London.
Hotter than London.
And Paris, in fact, is wetter than London.
And Paris, in fact, is wetter than London.
Wetter
Paris,
than
in fact, is wetter than London. बारिश ज़्यादा होती है पेरिस में लंदन से.
London. But in London, there are more wet days.
But in London, there are more wet
days.
Do you understand what it means? In London, there are more wet days. लंदन में बारिश वाले दिन ज़्यादा होते हैं. संख्या बारिश वाले दिनों की
ज़्यादा है.
Patna has more schools than Delhi. Patna has
more schools
more schools than Delhi. मतलब समझ में आया? The number of schools in Patna is bigger than the number of schools in Delhi. Patna has more schools than Delhi. Got it?
Got it.
I mean, Factually, it may not be true. Factually, Delhi has more schools, I think, because Delhi is bigger than Patna, right? Okay. Anyways, do you understand this? That Paris is wetter than London, but in London there are more wet days. Hindi. Lalin will go first.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Tell me the Hindi of this.
The Paris, in fact, is.
नहीं, अभी पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं, पढ़ चुके हम लोग सब कुछ। आपको बस वो जो समझे वो हिंदी में बताइए।
Which thing?
हाँ, देखते हैं आप लोगों के लिए एक एग्जाम्पल है, अच्छे से समझिएगा कि क्या चीज चेंज होता है। फिर ललिन कह रहे हैं क्या बताऊं, ललिन को समझ नहीं आ रहा मैंने क्या पूछा। मैंने कहा आपने 3 नंबर के बारे में मैंने जो बातें बताई आप मुझे वही बात हिंदी में बताइए, इतनी देर से मैं वही बता रहा हूँ और आप सुनना कि लोग क्या बोलते हैं। ललिन ठीक है, जब आप नहीं जवाब दे पाए तो मुझे बताइए आपने क्या सुना, हिंदी में बताइए। The audio was played 3-4 times, right, ललिन? तीन
Yes,
चार
sir.
बार मैंने ऑडियो प्ले की, फिर अभी
Yes,
मैंने अपनी तरफ से एक्सप्लेन कर दिया, पटना दिल्ली स्कूल नंबर बता करके भी बता दिया।
Paris
तो
is fact is than London. The Paris ज़्यादा मतलब बारिश ज़्यादा होती है other than London.
बहुत बढ़िया, आगे बढ़िए।
But London is there are wetter than days. मतलब मीन्स लाइक लंदन के अंदर जब बारिश का टाइम होता है तो ज़्यादा वेट होता है, मतलब वेट डेज होते हैं उसके अंदर, लंदन के अंदर।
मतलब
मतलब वेट डेज, गीलापन मीन्स लाइक।
ठीक है, याद रखिएगा हम लोग दुनिया के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं तो दुनिया में जो होता है वही बता रहे होंगे, ठीक है। चलिए रेनू यू गो ऑन।
पेरिस में ज्यादा बारिश होती है लंदन की बजाय।
हाँ, कहाँ बारिश ज्यादा होती है, लंदन में कि पेरिस में?
नो सर, पेरिस में, पेरिस
पेरिस इज वेटर
ज्यादा,
देन लंदन, तो
पेरिस
क्लियरली
में, हाँ।
पेरिस में ज्यादा बारिश होती है, बट इन लंदन देर आर मोर वेट डेज।
लेकिन ज्यादा दिनों तक बारिश लंदन में होती है।
हाँ जी,
पेरिस
बारिश वाले
ज्यादा
दिन
है।
ज्यादा होते हैं।
ज्यादा है लंदन में।
अभी ये बात समझ में आ रही ललिन आपको, बारिश
यस,
वाले दिन ज्यादा कहाँ होते हैं?
बारिश वाले ज़्यादा दिन पेरिस में होते हैं।
नो, लंदन।
लंदन, सॉरी।
तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ ललिन, जब तक आपके सुन के समझने की क्षमता नहीं बढ़ेगी आपके बेहतर बोलने की क्षमता बेहतर नहीं होगी। पहले क्या होगी बेहतर? सुन के समझने की क्षमता। सुन के समझने की क्षमता ही आपके बोलने की क्षमता को बेहतर करती है। क्या मैंने आप सब लोगों को ये बात कई बार कही थी कि लोग आपको कहते हैं बोलो बोलो बोलो, जबकि उनको बोलना चाहिए क्या? सुनो सुनो सुनो। अगर आप ज्यादा इंग्लिश सुनोगे आपके सुन के समझने की क्षमता बेहतर होगी, वो आपके बोलने की क्षमता बेहतर कर देगी। बताइए बाकी लोग मुझे। गणपत, Paris is wetter than London, but in London there are more wet days.
Come again, sir.
वो तो बात हो चुकी है, अभी मैं दोबारा क्या बोलूं?
Sir, I can't hear you, sir.
अभी ना, लेकिन जो बात हो रही थी उसी बारे में बात करना।
Yes, sir. Paris is Paris is better than London,
हाँ,
but in London there are more wet days.
राइट।
पेरिस में जो बारिश होती है जो लंदन से ज्यादा होती है, लेकिन जो लंदन में बारिश वाले दिन ज्यादा होते हैं।
बिल्कुल सही। तो इस बात का मतलब समझ में आया ललिन आपको जो गणपत ने कहा?
यस सर।
क्या आप अपने शब्दों में बताएं?
पेरिस के अंदर बारिश वाले डेज ज़्यादा होते हैं। सॉरी।
आप हिंदी में भी नहीं समझ पा रहे, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। बाकी मुझे बताएंगे निशात, सना, क्या सुना आपने? गणपत ने तो सही सही बता दी बात हिंदी में, अब
सर
हिंदी में नहीं
पेरिस,
हाँ बेटा
पेरिस
निशात।
में पानी मतलब बारिश ज्यादा होता है कंपेयर लंदन, बट बारिश वाले दिन ज्यादा लंदन में होते हैं।
वेरी गुड निशात, गुड। इसका मतलब क्या होता है समझ रहे हो ना? समझ रही होंगी तभी तो बोल रही हूँ, राइट? सना आप?
यस लंदन कंपैरिजन लंदन से पेरिस में ज्यादा बारिश होती है जबकि दिन लंदन में ज्यादा होते हैं बारिश वाले
हाँ जी, Paris is better than London, Shubhankar. Paris is better than London. But in London, there are more wet days. ललिन इस बात को समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं, कोशिश करके मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ या इंग्लिश में ही धीरे बोलता हूँ. पेरिस इज बेटर देन लंदन. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? पेरिस में ज्यादा बारिश होती है. बारिश किस चीज में गिनते हैं भाई? कैसे मेजर करते हैं?
Sir, come again.
बारिश किस चीज में मेजर करते हैं? हाउ डू वी नो कहाँ बारिश ज्यादा होती है?
Maybe the, whenever
Let's compare Bihar and Rajasthan. Which is better?
Bihar.
And Rajasthan, which is better?
बिहार
I think Bihar
In my
is better than
opinion,
Rajasthan.
is better than Rajasthan.
Bihar is better than Rajasthan.
बेटर देन
Rajasthan
बिहार में राजस्थान से
ज्यादा बारिश होती है.
ज्यादा
हाँ,
बारिश
सर बारिश होती है.
हम्म,
okay. समझ गए? बिहार is better than Rajasthan. And between Bihar and Meghalaya,
सर
Meghalaya
मेघालय
is
बेटर देन बिहार
better than
is better
Bihar.
than Bihar. Meghalaya is
मेघालय
Meghalaya
बेटर
is definitely better than Bihar.
Bihar.
Similarly, Paris is better than London, है ना? But in London there are more wet days. बताइए ललिन, अब इसको हिंदी में बोल दीजिए.
लंदन के अंदर ज्यादा बारिश वाले दिन होते हैं.
ये कैसे होता है कि लंदन में बारिश वाले दिन ज्यादा होते हैं लेकिन बारिश ज्यादा पेरिस में होती है? ये कैसे होता है ललिन?
हाँ, क्योंकि सर वहाँ पे जो
Suhankar, can you answer this? Paris is better than London, but in London there are more wet days.
इतनी ज्यादा
Maybe
पेरिस में हैवी बारिश हो जाती होगी कुछ ही दिनों में, और जो लंदन में 10 दिन महीनों तक नहीं होती होगी. रिमझिम रिमझिम वहां हो रही है. लाइक सर ये मतलब.
Exactly.
maybe yeah.
But I was expecting you would express that in English, It's okay. Let me explain that. Okay.
Sorry sir.
So in London, there are more wet days. So maybe there is a little bit of rain today, there's a little bit of rain tomorrow. So you can count it as a rainy day, a wet day, because it rained. But in maybe it doesn't rain that often. Okay, there are less number of days. But when it rains heavily, and that's why total amount of rain is more in Paris. Just like when you compare children and grown-up people, then grown-up people eat more food than children. If you have to cook for 6 grown-up people for one day, you need to cook more food than for 6 children for one day. But children eat more often. A little bit now, again a little bit 2 hours later, then in 2 hours time, again another one meal. So children eat more often, but adults
Than adult.
right? So in Paris, there is more rain, and in London, rain is more often.
Yes.
Number 4. The architecture in Paris is...
What about
More
the
beautiful.
buildings?
What about the buildings? What about the buildings?
Well,
Well,
people say that the architecture in Paris is more beautiful.
people say that the architecture in Paris is more beautiful. Now, this is an opinion or a fact? The architecture in Paris is more beautiful?
Sir,
It's
it's
an
opinion.
It's
opinion.
an
Opinion.
An
an
opinion, obviously. Okay, some people feel this way. You cannot measure it. Beauty cannot be measured, right? So some people say that the architecture in Paris is more beautiful.
But the buildings in London are more interesting.
But the buildings in London are more interesting. Now, interesting buildings, what does that mean, Lalin? The buildings in London are more interesting. What does that mean? The buildings in
Interesting.
London are more interesting.
It's like architecture is more interesting in the London. It's
What
a
do you mean interesting? What does it mean? Interesting? What does it mean? Beautiful, I understand.
uh, means like very attractive, like
Then why
older.
won't you call it, why won't you call it beautiful then? Why won't you call it beautiful then?
We can
That's
call
a
it
pattern of buildings, like structure, like a different.
Okay, let's talk about it a little bit. There are beautiful girls, right? You look at them and you say, wow. Okay. So there are beautiful girls, and then there are interesting girls. So how do you know a girl is interesting? When you talk to her. When you talk to her, then you find out that, she's interesting, right? So buildings can be interesting. When you look at them, you will never know that the buildings are interesting. You will only know the buildings are beautiful, right? But when you say something is interesting, it means you need to know about it. Okay. So maybe there are stories related to that building. Something happened in history. Some events took place there. That's why those
historical,
buildings are more
more historical.
Interesting.
interesting. Okay. So what do you think of yourself? You are more good looking or more interesting people? What's your own opinion of yourself? You're more interesting or more good looking? What's your opinion of yourself?
More interesting.
You
Interesting.
consider yourself more interesting than good looking?
Yeah.
Shubhankar
Yes.
thinks he is more interesting than good looking. Okay. Renu, what do you think of yourself?
No, sir, I don't know.
I want to know your opinion, Renu, of yourself.
Sir, in my opinion, I'm not more interesting. I'm good looking. Yeah, sir.
No, you're not getting the point here, Renu. You didn't understand English then. Your problem was with English, Renu. I asked you, do you consider yourself more interesting or more beautiful? It means what is more? You are more beautiful or you're more interesting? What does it mean? You have to compare interesting and beautiful like this. You're more interesting or more beautiful?
Yeah, sir. I'm not more interesting, sir.
So you're more beautiful?
Yeah, sir. Hmm.
You're more beautiful.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. हिंदी में बोलिए.
सर ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग मतलब नहीं हूँ, टॉकटिव नहीं हूँ ज्यादा सर मैं. आई एम नॉट इंटरेस्टिंग सर. मोर
आगे बोलिए.
देन
आगे बोलिए.
देन देन लुकिंग वाइज.
आप बिल्कुल गलत समझ रहे हैं. इंग्लिश में दिक्कत हो रही है आपको. Okay, guys.
Well, I think I'm an interesting person.
Shubhankar says he will. Okay, Shubhankar. Okay, I will come back to you, Renu. I will come back to you, Renu. Lalin, listen, keep listening, Renu. Lalin, you're more good looking or you're more, interesting, Lalin? What's your opinion?
Oh, well, I think, sir, I'm an interesting person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're more interesting than good looking.
Yeah, I'm more
You're more
interesting
interesting.
other than the good looking person.
अदर नहीं बोलते, अदर नहीं बोलते. आप अदर अपने मन से लगा रहे हर बार. मैंने गौर किया. आप अदर हर बार लगाते हैं.
Next time I will
Other than.
not using other.
Yeah. Sana, what do you think, Sana? You're more interesting or more good looking
I'm more interesting
than good
than
looking?
good
Oh,
looking.
okay. And Ganpat, what do you think of yourself?
Yes, sir, same. I am more interesting than more beautiful, sir.
Okay. Kakasha, Aisha, Nishat, Adib.
I'm more interesting, sir.
David,
Handsome.
Good looking. Nishat, what do you think? Nishat is both good looking and interesting. She's both good looking and interesting. Right, guys? Because she has opinions, very interesting opinions. Aisha, what do you think, Aisha?
I'm more interesting than beautiful.
Okay. Kakasha. Kehkasha isn't there? You guys, now, did you understand a little bit better? Dear Renu, where are you?
Yes, sir, but it's an opinion, na. It's not fact, na, sir.
Did I say it is a fact? I
Beautiful
said not your opinion.
or interesting. It's
I-
an opinion, na.
मैंने
Yes, sir.
पहले ही बोला आपसे कि अपनी ओपिनियन
Yes, sir.
बताइए, तो ये बात बताने की क्या
Hmm.
जरूरत है? It's an opinion.
Yes,
हाँ,
sir.
I'm asking you for your opinion. I want to know
Yes,
your
sir.
opinion of yourself.
Hmm. I'm more good looking than interesting.
I think I'm more interesting than good looking. You know, a person will not look at me and say, wow, but I think when I talk to people, they take interest in, you know. So I'm more interesting than good looking. Okay, there are some girls, they are very beautiful, Shubhankar. But when you talk to them, you get bored with them
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
because they're only good looking. They're not
They are
not
not interesting.
interesting.
They are not
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Sometimes people say, I'm neither interesting nor good looking.
Yeah,
I'm
sir.
neither interesting
Interesting
nor
nor good
Not good
looking.
looking.
good looking. Na main ye hu, na main wo hu. Okay. Some people say, I'm both. I'm both interesting and good
Good
looking.
looking.
For example, Katrina Kaif. She is both interesting and good looking.
Good looking.
Yeah. Have you listened to her interviews? Katrina Kapoor's interviews. Katrina Kaif, not Katrina. Katrina Kaif's interviews. She's very interesting, guys. She's very interesting. I love her opinions. You know, I like listening to Katrina Kaif. She's very interesting. So, guys, interesting because there is something you get to know and you say, wow, good. Beautiful appearance wise. Okay.
Shahrukh Khan is more educated than Salman Khan.
That's true. Adeeb, would you like to marry a more beautiful girl or a more interesting girl?
I don't.
Come on, Adeeb, answer. Don't chicken, okay? Don't, come on, answer. Don't be a chicken. Don't be a chicken. Come on, answer, Adeeb. Would you prefer a more beautiful girl or a more interesting girl? You could say, sir, I want both beautiful girl and an interesting girl. A beautiful and interesting girl. A beautiful and interesting girl.
Yeah.
Okay, Adi. Adi wants Sonha and Murmur.
And he should add more intelligent.
Yeah, it's an intelligent answer. Nishat, would you rather marry a man who is interesting, or would you rather marry a man who is good looking but not very interesting?
I think, sir, both.
You want both? An interesting man who is good looking?
Yes.
A good looking man who is interesting? People are not ready to compromise here, huh? People are not ready to compromise at all. Okay. I hope you guys get what you want. So, dear Renu, I was trying to say, do you consider yourself more beautiful or more interesting?
No, sir, more interesting. Yeah, sir, I
Consider
understand.
yourself more interesting.
Yeah, sir. Yes.
Okay. तो ये एक ओपिनियन है आपकी, है ना? सब लोगों के अपने अपने ओपिनियन है, राइट? Let's continue.
And living in the two cities?
And living in the two cities, now comparing living in the two cities. दोनों शहरों में रहना कैसा होता है? Living in the two cities.
Well, life is faster in London.
Life is faster in London. Life is faster in London. Life is faster in villages or life is faster in cities?
Life is faster
in cities
than
People
villages.
don't have much time,
than
right?
villages.
People don't have much time.
Mm.
Yeah. Life is faster in London.
And the people?
And the people. Now, talking about the people.
Londoners are generally more polite than Parisians.
Londoners are generally more polite than Parisians. Londoners are generally more polite than Parisians. Yeah.
Parisian.
Yeah, Londoners are more polite than Parisians.
Persian.
Again, it's a fact or an opinion?
It's
It's an opinion. It's an opinion.
Opinion. But a lot of people agree with this opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of people agree with this opinion. Okay. They think Londoners are more polite than Parisians.
People in London work harder and they
People in London work harder and they earn
earn more.
They earn more. People in London work
harder.
In Paris, having a good time is more important.
In Paris, having a good time is more important. Doesn't matter how much you earn. Enjoy your life. So Parisians believe in having a good time, and Londoners believe in earning money. Where would you like to live, in London or Paris?
I would like to leave London.
I would like to live in Paris because Parisians think having a good time is more important. I also believe having a good time is more important. How much money you have in the account is not so important. How much fun you have in life is more important.
Makes sense.
Yeah, sir. I agree, sir.
Some people do not enjoy life. They just want to have more and more and more money in life, in their bank accounts. It's okay, whatever. I'm not like that. For me, having a good time is very important. In this class, memorizing is not important. Understanding is more important. I never ask you to memorize any list of vocabulary, list of idioms, phrases. I never do that. I only ask you to listen, connect, so that you can just become comfortable with those words. Okay, fine. So guys, we are almost done with this. I have shared the audio file with you. I want you to spend a lot of time listening to 9.3 and 9.4 and try to be a Rob and compare two cities. Like Rob here is comparing Paris and London. Just तरह से, the way he talks, okay? He talks about people, he talks about buildings, he talks about life, he talks about weather, he talks about roads, he talks about transport. You can compare two cities too. Which two cities do you know, Renu? You know Gwalior and
Yeah, sir. And Delhi also.
Delhi.
And
You can compare
Mumbai.
Delhi and Gwalior. Okay. Yeah, you can compare Delhi and Gwalior. It's
Because my mama lives in Delhi.
Lovely, Renu. Your mama lives there, so you know that city, right?
Yeah, sir.
Good. So you can definitely compare. So I would like you guys to spend time with 9.4, and when you are confident, then you try to compare any two cities. Okay? Guys, you understand your homework?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So you can do your homework in the writing. You can do your homework in speaking as well. You can record yourself as well if you want. It's up to you. I'm wrapping up for today, and we'll continue tomorrow. All right, everybody? Bye-bye. Take care. Good night.
Bye, sir.
Good night. Good night.